Not all physical exercise is suitable for everyone. Take into account factors such as strength, flexibility, and overall health to determine if a particular movement or pose is appropriate for you. This, like any other activity that involves physical movement, can result in personal injury. Any injury sustained from proper or improper use of the following session is solely the responsibility of the user. If in doubt, it is recommended that you consult a healthcare professional before engaging in any new physical routine. Welcome to your yoga practice. Please stay true to your physical abilities and follow the modifications offered as needed. We will begin in child's pose. The knees can be wide or close. Move those sit bones towards your heels and lengthen the spine forward. As best you can, make this a restful and supported pose. So you might place a blanket over your heels, or you might support the head with your hands. Tune into your breath and feel the expansion produced by your inhales and the grounding produced with your exhales. And here, begin to just acknowledge the thoughts. You might feel ease in this pose and stillness. You might be anticipating what's to come. You might feel urges to move. You might be calm. You might be anxious. Whatever it is, there's no rights or wrongs. You don't need to change any of those thoughts. And your task here is just to notice and accept them. Tuning into that breath and finding a rhythm of inhale and exhale that keeps you engaged and present, has a combination of effort and ease. And as we begin to move, pair that breath with the movement. Coming out into table pose. Bringing those wrists straight under the shoulders and the knees straight under the hips. Begin to find cat and cow. Moving with your breath. So those inhales will drop the belly, lift the chest. And the exhales will round the spine. Moving with your breath. Cow pose as the belly drops and the chest rises through those arms, the gaze lifts. And breathing out as the spine rounds and the chin comes towards the chest. Cat pose. Tuck the toes and make your way back into downward facing dog, sending weight into those heels and lifting those sit bones up and back. Make sure that those fingers are spread and that your shoulders are squared towards the mat. Moving that chest towards the thighs. Lengthening in the spine. As you inhale, make your way to the top of the mat, feet towards the hands, forward fold. And inhale, vertebra by vertebra, keeping that head and arms heavy. Rise up to stand. Shoulders move away from the ears. With your next inhale, arms lift overhead. And as you exhale, bring those hands to the heart, pressing the palms together. And again, inhale, arms wide overhead. And exhale, hands to the heart. And one more time, inhale, arms rise. And exhale, arms lower to the heart. This time, arms lift. And as you exhale, keep those arms lifted. Shoulder width, palms facing towards each other. Take a full breath in. And lower the hands to the heart. Exhale. Feel grounded through the feet. Inhale, arms lift. And exhale, stay. Take a full breath in. And this time, exhale, hands to the heart. Notice that pause. Notice that extra breath. As you inhale, arms lift overhead. And as you exhale, this time, forward fold. Inhale into a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. And again, halfway lift, inhale. And forward fold, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And hold. Send those shoulders away from the ears. Imagine bringing those shoulder blades towards one another. And with your next exhale, fold forward. As you breathe in, halfway lift. And hold, breathe out. Let those inhales lengthen from tailbone to crown of the head, and those exhales move the belly button towards the spine. With your next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, vertebra by vertebra to rise up to stand. And exhale, shoulders away from the ears. Feel that stability standing on both feet. Inhale, arms rise. And exhale, out and down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And plant the hands, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale, out into table pose. So you lower those knees straight under the hips. And you bring those wrists straight under the shoulders. As you inhale, finding that cow pose, dropping the belly, lifting through the chest. And with your next exhale, rounding the spine, finding that cat pose. Here, staying for the in-breath. And staying for the out-breath. And then using your next inhale to drop the belly, lift through the chest. And your exhale to round the spine and lower the sit bones towards the heels to find child's pose. For your next inhale, make your way back into downward facing dog. Exhaling to send weight into the legs. And inhaling to make your way to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Following your breath, inhale, actively rising up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhaling into chair pose, sitting down. Bringing hands to the heart, exhale. Inhale, standing up, lifting the hands overhead. And keeping lifted, bringing the hands to the heart. Inhale, bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift. And exhale, hands to your heart. Chair pose, inhale. And this time, hold. Notice any urges to keep moving. And notice that there is movement in your breath. That your legs can be stable. That your belly can be engaged. With your next exhale, just lower the hands to the heart, but keep seated. Keep that engagement in the legs. Spread all 10 toes and soften them back onto the mat. With your next inhale, rising up, straighten those legs, arms lift overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. And planting the hands, spreading those fingers, get a good base and find downward facing dog. As you inhale, come out into plank pose. And as you exhale, transition back downward facing dog. Notice that you can lower those knees to the mat as you come into those plank pose. And staying in downward facing dog, taking a full breath in. And exhaling with mouth open. With your next inhale, making your way to the top of the mat. And exhaling into a forward fold. Actively rising up, inhale. And bringing hands to the heart, exhale. Inhale into chair pose. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, straighten the legs and the arms. And exhale, hands to your heart. Back into chair pose. Inhale, knees bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. Keep sitting down. Inhale, straighten legs and arms. And exhale, hands to your heart. And inhale into your chair pose. Make this a balance between effort and ease. And stay here, exhale. Again, spreading those toes, sending weight into the heels. And softening the gaze. Notice if there is harsh thoughts here. And maybe your exhales can help you find some ease. Bringing hands to the heart anytime that the shoulders feel too tight and too fatigued. With your next inhale, rising up to stand, arms overhead. And exhale out and down to fold forward. Halfway lift on your inhale. And plant the hands, taking time to set that base. Downward facing dog. Use your inhale to lengthen out into plank pose and your exhale to come back into downward facing dog. And again, inhaling out into plank, modifying as needed. Make sure that the belly is engaged and that you are breathing. With your next exhale, lift those sit bones up and back, downward facing dog. Taking a full breath in here. And a full breath out, mouth open. As you inhale, come out into plank pose. And exhale, hold. Send that belly button towards the spine. And feel that strength in that core. With your next exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing in to walk those feet towards the hands. And breathing out to fold forward and find a resting forward fold. Bending the knees as much as you need to here. And grabbing opposite elbows, letting the head be heavy. And letting the exhales release out of the mouth. Not only releasing air, but releasing tension in any part of the body that doesn't need it. And inhale, releasing the elbows and vertebra by vertebra rising up to stand. Your next inhale will lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And your exhale will step the right foot back, align heel and inside of that back foot to find warrior two. Bending into that front knee and making sure that that front knee never moves beyond the front ankle. With your next inhale, find reverse warrior. So you reach that front arm up and back. And as you exhale, find side angle pose. So you reach the torso forward. Moving between these two poses reaching up and back into reverse and reaching forward and down, finding a diagonal line between the crown of the head and the back heel. And one more time, reverse warrior. And this time staying here for another full breath in. Full breath out. Inhaling. And then using your exhale to transition into the side angle pose. Reaching that crown of the head away from the back heel. And breathing. With your next inhale, come back into warrior two. And as you exhale, bring those hands to the mat, framing that front foot, and step back to find downward facing dog. Your next inhale, walking those feet towards the hands. Halfway lift, inhale. And fold forward, exhale. Pressing into the feet, arms wide, actively rise up. And hands to your heart, exhale. As you inhale, arms lift. And exhale to step the left foot back. Find warrior two on this side, aligning the inside of the back foot with the front heel. And again, finding that reverse warrior, so the legs will stay as they are. And only the torso will move between these two poses. As you exhale, find side angle. And as you inhale, reach up and back, reverse warrior. Remember to breathe. And however you are moving with whatever modifications, be true and honest to your body without forcing, and experiencing being in poses, transitioning, moving with intention. And finding side angle pose and taking a full breath in here and a full breath out. And then using your next inhale to rise up to find warrior two. And exhale to cartwheel the hands, plant them on the mat and step that front foot back, downward facing dog. With your next exhale, lower the knees to the mat and finding child's pose. Making this again that restful place, so any props that you might need, maybe between sit bones and heels, maybe under the knees, maybe under the forehead. Finding that place where you can stay connected with your breath, stay present, and noticing again any thoughts, any urges to move out. And rather than responding right away, just take a full breath in and a full breath out, and notice if those urges to move are still there. From here, with your next inhale, bringing those hands in front of you and pressing back into downward facing dog. And slowly, as you inhale, walking those feet towards the hands, folding forward on an exhale, and rising actively, arms wide, up to stand on an inhale. Next inhale, find chair pose. And exhale, bring those arms by your side. Moving only the arms, rising them up by the ears on your inhale and lowering them on your exhale. And the next time the arms are lifted, stay there for an extra breath. And use the next exhale to lower the arms by your side, staying there also for an extra breath. Then use your inhale then to straighten the legs, to rise up, arms overhead, and your exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale out into plank pose, and with control, that might mean lowering the knees to the mat. Keep the elbows by the ribs, lower all the way down to the mat. Bringing those hands straight under the shoulders. You inhale, lift the chest into cobra pose, keep the gaze down. And exhale, lower. And again, cobra pose, inhale. And exhale, lower. And inhale, cobra pose. This time, stay here. You might keep the hands on the mat, or you might lift the hands just to hover over the mat. Keep those elbows coming towards one another. And let that breath slightly rise you, and then slightly lower you. And with your next exhale, this time release completely down to the mat. Bring those arms down by your side, palms facing up. Let those shoulders drop towards the mat and bring one side of the face to the mat. Let those exhales drop out and release not only air but tension anywhere that is not needed. With your next inhale, again finding cobra pose, allowing yourself to flow up and down with a breath. If it feels right, you might modify that cobra pose and find a locust pose instead. Make sure that you're not pushing too far. Locust pose, you will bring those arms by your side and reach the chest up as you lift the legs and you reach the fingertips away from the top of the head. With your next exhale, release completely down. Bring the opposite side of the face to the mat. Soften the shoulders. Release tension in those legs and wiggle the hips side to side, finding also softness and space in that lower back. And from here, bringing the hands to the mat and making your way back into child's pose, breathing into the back body. Imagine there's a balloon there, and with each inhale, it expands and makes space. With your next inhale, begin to rise the torso vertebra by vertebra and find those sit bones on the mat any way that might feel right. Lengthening those legs out in front of you, flexing the feet, finding that engagement in the quadriceps muscles. And then inhaling, those arms lift overhead. And then exhaling, begin to reach that chest towards the toes, keeping a long spine, so avoid rounding that spine. And finding here a seated forward fold. Sending those shoulder blades towards one another. Taking one more full breath in. And with your next exhale, allow the spine to round over the legs. Allow that head to be heavy. And allow those exhales again to flow out, maybe with the mouth open. And vertebra by vertebra, now rising up that torso. And lowering all the way down. And if lowering with those hands in front of you doesn't feel right today, feel free to bring the hands to the mat by your side and then lower that way. Bringing the feet to the outside edges of the mat, knees are bent and resting against one another. With your next exhale, opening the arms out into a T and dropping those knees towards your right. Maybe that gaze turns towards your left. As best you can, try to keep the feet where they are, so outside edges of the mat. For your next inhale, slowly lifting those knees back through center, let them touch, and then exhale to switch sides. So the reclined spinal twist with feet wide. So you should feel a bit more of a stretch in the groin area, in those hips. And as long as there is no pain, try to stay with the sensation and distinguish pain from discomfort. And see if your breath can help you move through that discomfort. With your next inhale, bringing again those knees back through center, let them rest against one another. Get that lower back to connect with the mat, those shoulder blades. Lengthen the back of the neck and bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Feel grounded not only through those feet, but also through the back of the pelvis, through the lower back, the mid-back, the shoulder blades, the back of the head. And you might stay here, or whenever you are ready, or only if it feels right today. You might lengthen those legs and arms onto the mat, moving into your Shavasana. A place where we practice not doing, a place where we practice witnessing without reacting. Practicing that acceptance of what is. And trusting our capacity to be resilient, to tolerate, to pause. Begin to find some gentle movement in your body. You might stretch the arms overhead away from those feet. And taking your time, eventually roll onto one side, knees towards the chest and arms supporting the head. Taking a full breath in and a full breath out here. And as you inhale, press through the hands, rise up and find a cross-legged seat. Bringing your hands to your heart. And acknowledging here the effort that it took to make time and space for your practice.
you.